A lot of people are aware that the Supreme Court is about to hand down a very important decision in what's known as the same-sex marriage case. Most people are expecting that to happen Monday. Whenever it happens, whether it's Monday or Tuesday or even the end of this week, we know it's going to be a major decision. There are a number of different outcomes that could occur there, but almost every outcome that will occur will cause a real increase in religious freedoms battles across the country. First, the court might decide that there is a new constitutional right to what they call same-sex marriage. And if this was federalized to a constitutional right, that would create conflicts all across the country. Conflicts in particular with religious freedom. Because if there's some new constitutional right, how does that constitutional right stack up against these other constitutional rights, like the free speech in the First Amendment or religious freedom in the First Amendment? Those things will have to be battled out. And in fact, in other countries where this right has been established, First Amendment rights, free speech, freedom of religion, have actually not fared very well. So there are a lot of ways that this decision is going to go much farther than people are thinking just about marriage. For instance, in the oral argument itself, the justices asked the Solicitor General, well, if we create this new federal constitutional right, does that mean that religious groups, for instance, who hold a different belief and therefore are discriminating under this new definition, will they lose their tax-exempt status? To everyone's shock, the Solicitor General's answer was, that will be an issue. But this is not just about tax-exempt status. It's about everything from the Department of Education guidelines and how those will change in all of our schools. This is about faith-based adoption agencies and what they will now be allowed to do, faith-based foster parents, homeless missions. I mean, there is literally not a ministry in the country that will not be impacted by this decision. And it goes even further than that. If you run a business and try to run it in accordance with your faith, if you are under Title VII, which is a federal law that controls all employers across the country with 16 or more employees, if you're a part of, let's say you like a broadcaster that you listen to on the air, a pastor or a ministry, well, they have to have an FCC license. Do you think the federal government is not going to question whether they should hold a license if they're now engaged in discrimination against what is now a new federal constitutional right? So you can see the types of attacks that are going to happen very quickly. And it won't just happen in what I just mentioned, it'll happen probably in most professions. Most professions have a statement of ethics that people have to follow. And again, in most professions, if you're engaged in invidious discrimination, you can't be in that profession. Whether you're a lawyer or a psychologist or a real estate agent, or you could go on down the line. So this is a decision that could impact literally everything in our country. And it's something that we at Liberty Institute are ready for. Our whole purpose is to defend religious freedom. This is actually very ironic. This country was built on religious freedom. The very reason people came here on boats is because they wanted to hold to religious beliefs that were different from the government. The right to dissent, the right to disagree. And now as we circle around, we're back to that very principle again. Will people be allowed to have the right to dissent? Well, that's exactly what we're about to be battling over. And I want to make clear, some people think, well, this battle, this is the end. No, this is really the very beginning of the battle. And I think it's a battle we can win, and we will win. I mean, if there's anything more in the DNA and the blood of Americans, it goes all the way back to that idea that there's nothing more American than the right to dissent or disagree with the government and to live out of your faith and conscience with sincerity. That's what we're going to preserve. And I think we can win these cases if we're willing to stand and if we're willing to do the right thing. So I want you not to be discouraged if you see the opinion that many people are expecting to come down, because from a religious liberty perspective, will this open battles across the country? Absolutely. But that's why Liberty Institute is here. We have our plans in place. We are ready. And as a country, I really think we can preserve this crucial American right, not only for us, but for our children and our grandchildren.